You have to be kidding me. Nintendo! I thought I was done ragging on the Nintendo Switch Online system. Seriously, I'm just as tired of it as probably a lot of you guys are. I honestly do not like ragging on this system anymore because I didn't feel like there was anything else to say. I said my piece. It's here. You're either going to buy it or you're not going to buy it, or you're going to wait for it to improve, or whatever the case may be, and that's it. But this, my friends, is not good. This is where we start to run into the danger zone when it comes to the Nintendo Switch Online service. What am I talking about? So this person on Twitter named @PaulJHan got an error message when going to buy DLC for the LEGO Worlds game. So here is what the error code happened when he went to get the DLC for this game. It says, a Nintendo Switch Online membership is required. See the Nintendo eShop for more information. If you already have a Nintendo Switch Online membership, restart the console from power options in the power menu. Hold the power button for 3 seconds and try again. Now, beyond this, Paul obviously tried to contact WB Games for support on this LEGO game, and here's what they said. Greetings, Paul. Thank you for contacting WB Games technical support. We understand any frustration or inconvenience this issue with trying to access the brick build may have caused you. After further investigation into this matter, it appears due to the recent policy changes per Nintendo, requiring an online account to access this content is a proper function going forward. Unfortunately, we here at WB Games Technical Support do not have the ability to assist with this issue, as it is a policy instilled by Nintendo. However, we can recommend reaching out to their support for any inquiries into this issue, and we'll attach a link to get in touch with them. Again, we sincerely apologize that we could not be of more assistance on this matter. And to be clear, he was attempting to purchase a DLC brick build for part of the game that does not require an online connection. Now, yes, obviously a vast majority of the LEGO Worlds game on Switch requires an online connection, but there are aspects of it that don't, and the DLC he was looking to purchase, which was the Egyptian bathhouse, has nothing to do with online connectivity. It is not a piece of DLC that you use exclusively online. There are other modes in the game where you would be able to use that brick build showcase and the Egyptian bathhouse stuff, and unfortunately, this user is unable to download it without being a member of the Nintendo Switch Online service. Now, we knew the Nintendo Switch Online service was going to lock online play for a lot of games, at least all Nintendo games and any third parties that opt into it, which obviously LEGO Worlds has. And obviously we knew that there were going to be other aspects to this as well, like cloud saves and all that. But this isn't cloud saves. This isn't online play. We're not talking about either of those. We're talking about DLC content in a game locked behind a paywall. Content you have to pay for in the first place, locked behind an additional paywall when it's not even something that you would necessarily use in online play. This is bad. This is probably the worst thing. Out of all the complaints I've ever had about the Nintendo Switch Online service, from not having cloud saves for all games, just most games, from not offering messaging to requiring an account for, or requiring a paid account through P2P multiplayer, all of that's an aside. That's all minor stuff in comparison to locking DLC of a third-party game behind the online service when this DLC has nothing to do with online play. And even if it did, should that be locked? Should the ability to purchase that, to the ability to hand money to the company and to Nintendo through the eShop be behind a paywall? And the scariest part is that you would think this was an oversight by WB Games, but as the support email reads, no. This is Nintendo. Nintendo required them to do this. Nintendo required WB Games to lock DLC behind the Nintendo Switch Online service. You have to wonder how many more games in the future are going to require them to lock DLC behind the paywall. Heck, are they going to take it a step further and lock system and game updates? Maybe not system, but game updates behind it? Is a future patch for Wolfenstein 2 that might add a new multiplayer mode at some point going to be locked behind the paywall for us to even download that? This is an extremely frustrating point, and as much as we could talk about how, sure, DLC that requires the online service, maybe Nintendo's protecting you by making you not waste your money of buying it when you can't use it without the service, I can understand a justification, or at least a warning that says, warning, by purchasing this DLC, note that you will not be able to play this DLC as it's online content unless you have the Nintendo Switch Online service. That's a warning I can understand, but this is content that is usable offline. This is content. The Egyptian bathhouse is a brick building concept. It's content in LEGO World that you can use outside of online play. You could use it in handheld mode, on the go, in other modes in the game. This is ridiculous. I'm going to wait because I know down in the comments there's going to be the staunchest Nintendo defenders. They're going to come around and defend Nintendo on this. They're going to be beating that drum of Nintendo can do no wrong, and this just makes sense, even though it doesn't. I can't think, and you might say, oh, LOL, it's a LEGO game. It doesn't matter if it's a LEGO game. The point is somebody went to purchase DLC to use in an offline mode in a LEGO game and couldn't buy it because it requires an online Nintendo account, and it has nothing to do with WB Games choosing to do that. It has to do with Nintendo forcing WB Games to put DLC that you can use offline behind a paywall. That is one of the worst business practices I think I have ever seen. One of the most anti-consumer. I mean, this is worse than PlayStation 4. In my opinion, this is worse than when PlayStation 4 wasn't allowing crossplay. Yeah, they're starting to dabble in crossplay now a little bit with Fortnite, but reality is that I think this is worse than that because at least while PlayStation 4 was cutting you off from other systems, they weren't at least necessarily cutting content away from you. I know we didn't get the Better Together update, obviously, on PlayStation 4 because they didn't have crossplay, so you can argue there was a cutback on content as well, but on the PlayStation Network, do you see them blocking DLC, requiring you to have a PlayStation Network account in order to download DLC for a game? No, you just access their shop and you buy the DLC. Same is true on the eShop for a lot of games. You access the shop and you buy the DLC. And the scary thing is, I would have never saw this error because I have a Nintendo Switch Online account. And I think that's the scary thing here is how long would this have gone unnoticed if this one person in particular, refused to buy the Nintendo Switch Online service and tried to buy this content. And the sad thing is, this is a person that was trying to do a write-up for Bricks to Life, which is a massive LEGO website. This is just extremely frustrating. And I think Nintendo obviously needs to respond. I don't know, they don't need to respond to us per se, but they need to respond to Paul. I'm sure Paul sent off an email to them, and I'm sure he's going to get the roundabout. I've used Nintendo support email before. They usually give you the whole roundabout unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about this problem, just like WB. WB basically said, look, this isn't our fault. Blame Nintendo. Nintendo's the ones that are doing that. Maybe they'll do something for you. Chances are Nintendo won't because they're just not going to care. They're going to brush it under the rug and be like, sorry, this is just the way things work. This is not okay, guys. I love me some Nintendo. I really, really do. I love my Switch. It is the first system I have owned in my lifetime since the Super Nintendo that has the potential to unseat the Super Nintendo as my favorite Nintendo system of all time, be it handheld or home console, or in this case, both. I didn't think Nintendo was ever going to be able to pull that off in my lifetime. I thought, for me, Super Nintendo was the pinnacle, and we would never get back to that. But Switch is encroaching on my bias, I guess, towards the Super Nintendo. And, man, there's so many great games. I'm looking forward to, just in a week here, literally 7 days from now, picking up Super Mario Party, which I know some of you guys might not even be excited for, but I'm excited for. You guys know about my hype and excitement for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, and Smash Bros. Starlink Battle for Atlas. I mean, come on, we're like 16, 17 days away from that. I'm so pumped about so many games coming to Switch, but man, Nintendo, you can't do this. You can't force third-party public. I mean, you can. But this is one of the worst things you can do, Nintendo. This is the exact opposite of what you use an online service for. Blocking DLC that's usable offline behind a paywall is one of the most anti-consumer practices I have ever seen. And honestly, because of this, if I could cancel, I would cancel my online membership. It's already prepaid for a year, so there's not much I could do about it. But if I could, this is something that would make me be like, whoa. I'm supporting this business practice. Fine, you can argue I'm supporting locking online behind a paywall. Well, welcome to the way the world works today. Everything seems to be behind a paywall when it comes to online services. Fine, I'm supporting them having cloud saves, but not for everything. Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't like that. It's whatever. But yeah, fine. I can accept that. People want to think I'm supporting that by having an online account. But this practice, this is too far, Nintendo. This is what you might expect someone like EA to do. Oh, you can't access this DLC unless you also buy an EA Access account in addition to your Xbox Live account, in addition to paying for your internet connection, even though this DLC isn't actually usable in any online form, and you'll be able to play it without ever connecting online. That is something you might expect EA to do. And even EA has not gone that far down the rabbit hole. Nintendo. My people at Nintendo, I really hope that enough people make a fuss about this, because this is the worst thing to happen to an online system like this ever. Out of all of the things that have ever happened. This is, man. Nintendo better change your policies on this quick before this extends to something like Starlink Battle for Atlas or something like that. Because as soon as this hits an even bigger game, just wait for the uproar. It's going to be one that the internet's not going to let go of. Anyways, folks, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. I realize I was overly harsh on Nintendo, but in this one specific instance, if there's ever been an instance where Nintendo deserves harsh criticism, this is it. It doesn't get much worse than this, in my opinion, without Nintendo just literally stealing your money. So, without you having a choice. Anyways, I'm Nathaniel Rovajance from Nintendo Prime, and if you like this video, you know what to do, and if you dislike the video, hit that dislike button, subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Yes.